You want financials?
Tell him we going for Canelo next.
Yes. Let's
him.
go. Canelo, come on.
You heard it from him.
At 36 years old, Terence Crawford is making it clear that he's only interested in fights that will make history. For months, the possible matchup against Saul Canelo Alvarez has been the biggest fight on the horizon. Crawford has been interested in it, and the Mexican superstar sees it as the best way to solidify his place as one of the best fighters of our time. With His Excellency Turkey on their side, it looks like they have bought Canelo. With Canelo finally agreeing to the fight, Crawford is coming off a career-defining win where he dominated Errol Spence Jr., unifying the welterweight division and solidifying his name in the history books. Crawford, who goes by the name Bud, showed off everything that makes him great in that fight. From the first bell, it was clear that Spence, who he used to think was his biggest threat, was no match for him. Crawford's accuracy, power, and ring intelligence left Spence overwhelmed. He controlled every round before stopping him in the ninth, becoming the first male fighter in the four-belt era to be undefeated into weight classes.
I see he wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason.
After his great showing against Spence, Crawford is now setting even higher goals for himself. Canelo Alvarez, a fighter 3 weight classes above him and probably the biggest star in boxing for Crawford, is his next fight after his amazing performance against Spence. This fight is about legacy. He's not looking for easy wins or smaller challenges. He wants to be known as the best, and a fight with Canelo seems like the best way to do that. Canelo, on the other hand, has been hesitant about fighting the naturally smaller Crawford, despite Crawford's incredible accomplishments. Canelo has played down the fight's chances many times, saying that he wouldn't get credit for beating a smaller opponent. Canelo, who fights at 168 pounds, views Crawford, who last fought at 147, as someone who is simply not in his league when it comes to size and power. At first, Canelo flatly turned down Crawford's offer. He even said Crawford should fight Teofimo Lopez instead. First, an idea that many saw as a way for Canelo to avoid the fight.
Crawford needs to fight Teofimo first, and then we'll see, right? At the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not asking for that fight. They want to make that fight because it's a payday, obviously. But I don't want that fight. I think.
But Crawford wasn't backing down. As more and more fans and analysts began calling for the fight, the heat on Canelo began to mount. Crawford, relentless as ever, continued to call him out openly, and the demand for the fight only grew. Things took an interesting turn after Canelo's recent fight against Edgar Berlanga. The Mexican superstar squared off against Berlanga in what many expected to be a routine win for Canelo. Berlanga, though undefeated, was seen as a heavy underdog and not on the same level as Canelo. Yet Berlanga surprised everyone with his toughness and resolve. The fight started as many expected, with Canelo dominating early in the third round. Canelo landed a flush left hook that sent Berlanga crashing to the mat. At that time, it seemed like the fight was heading toward an early knockout, but Berlanga had other ideas. He got up, banged his gloves together in anger, and fought on. Although Canelo won the fight easily on the scorecards, Berlanga managed to go the full 12 rounds, something not many expected. The fight ended in a majority decision, with the judges scoring it heavily in Canelo's favor. Canelo connected on nearly 50% of his power punches, a number that underscored his dominance. However, the fact that he couldn't stop Berlanga raised some questions. Canelo hasn't won a knockout since his 11th round stoppage of Caleb Plant in November 2021, and this is now his 5th consecutive fight. Going the distance, some fans are starting to wonder whether the once lethal finisher has lost some of his power. Though his loyal supporters remain as devoted as ever, Canelo's failure to put Berlanga away may not have mattered much to his fans, but it certainly added an intriguing dimension to the conversations about his future opponents. Despite his victory, Canelo's attention quickly turned to what comes next. During the post-fight press conference, he was asked about possible future opponents, including Crawford. Initially, Canelo refused to speak on the chance of facing Crawford, a move that seemed to reinforcing his previous stance of dismissing the fight.
Across town put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turki Alalshikh, calling you out what's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
But behind the scenes, something was changing well. As it turns out, the financial offer for a Crawford fight has increased greatly. We remember that Canelo was criticized for the amount of money he was asking for this fight, and it was one reason that His Excellency and even Oscar de la Hoya saw it as unrealistic. But it seems after what Canelo displayed after Berlanga team Crawford and the Saudis saw Canelo putting on a lower performance.
Absolutely, there's a man in Canelo, a legend who recognizes another young beast. Well done on both these.
And perhaps it's this questionable performance that has pushed their confidence that Crawford can indeed put down Canelo, therefore now giving into his money requests. But as one of the highest paid athletes in the world, Canelo's decisions are often influenced by the purse. And this time was no different. While Canelo had earlier dismissed Crawford, the money on the table now seemed to have caught his attention.
Fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk.
Now Canelo is finally ready to entertain the idea of fighting Crawford, but with one key condition. The terms of the fight have to make sense financially given Canelo's star power and the fact that he commands some of the highest paydays in the sport. This situation isn't surprising for Crawford. This could be the break he's been waiting for.
Easy work, I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want 200 million for Benavidez, and he want 150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him, I'm a threat to his legacy.
Canelo's openness to the fight has reignited the conversation around this possible mega-bout. The clash between two undisputed champions from different weight classes would be a historic event drawing huge attention from fans all over the world. For Crawford, the stakes couldn't be higher. This would be the ultimate legacy fight, a chance to move up 3 divisions and face one of the greatest fights of the modern age.
The crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. So let's not.
But while Crawford's eyes are totally on Canelo, Canelo may end up picking another opponent, while Canelo's camp has other options on the table as well. One of the more talked about options is a rematch with Dmitry Bivol, the Russian heavyweight champion who gave Canelo his second professional loss in May 2022. Bivol's win over Canelo was a convincing one, with Dmitry Bivol using his size and skill to outbox the Mexican superstar over 12 rounds. Canelo has been eyeing a rematch ever since, but talks have stalled due to Bivol's demands. Interestingly, Bivol has stated multiple times that he is willing to drop down to 168 pounds for the rematch, aiming to show that his victory wasn't just a result of his size. Advantage: if Bivol were to move down to super middleweight and fight Canelo, the fight would take on a whole new importance. However, with Bivol currently set to face or BBV in a light heavyweight unification bout in October, the timing for a Canelo-Bivol rematch remains uncertain. Another choice for Canelo is to continue defending his super middleweight titles against younger and defeated contenders. Fighters like Christian Nduli and Diego Paca are both ranked highly in the super middleweight division and could provide fresh tests for Canelo. Nduli in particular is known for his aggressive all-action style, which could make for an exciting battle. However, neither Emily nor Paca are seen as a serious threat to dethrone Canelo. But even with these options, it's clear that a fight with Crawford holds the most intrigue. The financial incentives are enormous, and the fight would surely be one of the biggest events in recent boxing history. For Canelo, this would be an opportunity to silence critics who believe he has been avoiding the most dangerous challenges in recent years. And for Crawford, it's a chance to prove that he can compete and perhaps even win against one of the sport's greatest fighters despite the size disadvantage. The logistics of the fight would need to be worked out, particularly around weight. Canelo usually fights at 168 pounds, while Crawford's last bout was at 147. A catch weight seems like the most likely answer, but the exact number would be a point of negotiation. Both fighters would also need to agree on the purse, with Canelo likely getting the lion's share given his star power and drawing ability.
Canelo, Johnny Boy Boxing, Flight Hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right,
$100 million. I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
As things stand, the fight hasn't been officially announced, but with the money right and Canelo finally accepting the idea, all signs are moving toward it becoming a reality. With both fighters showing interest in the financial aspect starting to align, it seems only a matter of time before this historic clash is set in motion, while Canelo has made it clear that the financial terms must be right. The growing interest in the fight from fans, media, and promoters suggests that those terms will likely be met as Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez inch closer to the chance of a blockbuster fight. The conversation continues to revolve around both the challenges and rewards that a fight of this size would bring. Like Alvarez, Crawford is no stranger to success. He has conquered for weight classes and established himself as one of boxing's top pound-for-pound fighters. However, for Crawford to challenge Alvarez for his super middleweight crowns, it would take an enormous leap both literally and figuratively. Crawford would need to move up to weight classes to face Alvarez. It's a massive jump for any boxer, but especially for Crawford, who has only fought once above the welterweight limit of 147 pounds. His lone fight at 154 pounds against Uzbekistan's Israel Mata finished in a unanimous decision. Victory on August 3rd in Los Angeles. However, his cautious and tactical approach in that fight raised questions about whether he can handle the size, strength, and power of top fighters at higher weight classes. This dynamic adds a layer of intrigue to a possible Crawford-Alvarez showdown. Canelo himself has voiced concerns about not getting the credit he deserves if he were to defeat Crawford. Despite Crawford's unbeaten record of 410 with 31 knockouts, the Mexican superstar thinks that the narrative of Crawford being a smaller, naturally lighter fight would overshadow his potential. Victory Alvarez has made it clear that defeating Crawford would not be considered as impressive as beating a real super middleweight contender like David Benavidez, for example, but even with that, he still hasn't fought Benavidez. The size disparity is also why Alvarez is allegedly demanding a 9-figure payday to face Crawford. Such a massive financial request highlights the risks involved for Alvarez, as he would be expected to win, but any slip-up could tarnish his reputation, and even if he does emerge victorious, critics may downplay the accomplishment due to Crawford's smaller frame and limited experience at higher weights. But still, this fight has captured the imagination of fans and media alike. Despite the weight difference, it marks a clash between the pound-for-pound kings, each looking to cement his legacy in the sport. Crawford, despite the odds, remains the most appealing option for Alvarez if the Mexican star decides not to fight Benavidez. The hard-hitting undefeated WBC interim super middleweight champ, although Crawford would enter the fight as a heavy underdog, the matchup itself would generate significant attention from mainstream media and create massive revenue streams, positioning it as arguably the biggest fight in boxing at the moment. However, there are issues that go beyond just weight classes and paydays. One of the major hurdles in making this fight a reality is Alvarez's relationship with Turki Alalshikh has emerged as one of the most powerful people in boxing over the past year, particularly due to the enormous sums of money he has injected into the sport. However, Alvarez's refusal to fight Benavidez has led to a public falling out between the two. Turki Alalshikh recently took to social media to criticize Alvarez for avoiding the fight with Benavidez, escalating emotions between them. Despite the war of words, the vast sums of money at stake have a way of getting over such differences. Alvarez is already one of the richest athletes in boxing, having made more money than his family could spend over multiple generations. But as he has proven throughout his career, he's as much of a businessman as he is a fighter. If the financial offer for a fight with Crawford is lucrative enough, Alvarez may be ready to put aside his feud with Alalshikh to make the fight happen. Interestingly, Alvarez has shown that he's willing to suffer criticism if it means securing the right fight. His recent decision to fight Edgar Berlanga, an opponent who many thought unworthy of the opportunity, is criticized by fans. Alvarez pressed forward, understanding that as long as the business side made sense, the scrutiny was something he could handle. The same concept applies to a fight with Crawford, despite Crawford being smaller and less experienced at higher weights. His position as an elite undefeated fighter and a future Hall of Famer would bring enough credibility and intrigue to make the fight a commercial success in many ways. Alvarez and Crawford need each other to make the biggest fight possible. Both fighters are nearing the end of their careers and have achieved nearly everything in professional boxing. However, neither fighter is particularly interested in fighting the younger, hungry challengers in their own divisions. For Crawford, that means avoiding dangerous welterweights like WBC interim super welterweight champion Virgil Ortiz Jr. and IBF champion Jaron Boots Andes. While these fights would certainly boost his resume, they don't offer the same financial or legacy-defining rewards as a fight with Alvarez. Crawford, who turns 37 in September, knows the business side of boxing just as well as Alvarez does. He knows that a fight with Alvarez could earn him a 9-figure payday, aligning him with Turki Alalshikh and making the bout even more feasible from a financial viewpoint rather than taking on the risks involved with fighting younger, more dangerous opponents like Ortiz or Ennis. Crawford seems set on betting it all against a bigger, stronger elite-level fighter in Alvarez. Of course, this move hasn't come without criticism. Some have accused Crawford of chasing a payday instead of greatness, suggesting that he is looking for an easier path to a large financial reward, but Crawford remains unapologetic. He has made it clear that at this stage of his career he's looking for the biggest challenges and the biggest paydays, and right now Alvarez offers both. For now, all we know is that Crawford can't wait to meet Canelo in the ring. He took to social media after Canelo's most recent bout, putting on a simple but bold statement: "Put me in the game, coach." It was a direct message clearly signaling his readiness to step up and face Alvarez, the current king of the super middleweight class. It's no secret that Crawford has been eyeing Alvarez for some time, but his recent social media statement feels like a serious push toward making this fight a reality with an unbeaten record. Crawford is a 4-division world champion and sits comfortably among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. However, a fight against Alvarez, who fights to weight classes above him at 168 pounds, would require Crawford to move up significantly, a daunting task but one that could cement his legacy if he pulls off the upset Turki. Turki Alalshikh has put more fuel to the fire. Turki Alalshikh, who has become one of boxing's biggest power players, stated after Crawford's win last month that he's ready to put serious money on the table to make the fight happen. According to ESPN's Mike Copping, Turki Alalshikh said, "I will give Canelo what I think is a good price. If he accepts it, he deals directly with me to finish the deal. I don't want anyone in the middle. I promise Crawford a big fight. I want Canelo for Crawford, and Crawford wants Canelo." Turki Alalshikh's comments showed just how committed he is to securing this blockbuster fight, which has the potential to create massive global attention. His statement also suggests that he's ready to negotiate directly with Alvarez and bypass any promotional middleman. This kind of direct method could help streamline the process and avoid some of the usual complications that often appear when dealing with boxing contracts.
Before, and this is my opinion, I don't start to talking about these things. He start and he said he respects me, but he doesn't like what we are doing in boxing. That's why I said what I said.
However, there is a catch. Turki Alalshikh hinted at a possible stumbling block to Canelo's financial demands, but if Canelo is crazy with his financial demands, I will still guarantee Crawford any fight he wants. Turki Alalshikh kept making it clear that while he is fully committed to bringing Alvarez and Crawford together, he won't let excessive demands derail Crawford's chances for a big payday. Well, with that now figured out, we might be seeing a fight between Canelo and Crawford off soon. What do you think? Share your ideas below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.